let's learn something new. Okay? So, I'll just ask you guys a question. Does every number have an opposite?
Yes.
Yes.
Except for 0, right?
Oh, except for 0? Does 0 have an opposite? Is there an opposite of 0?
0.
Yeah, it doesn't really have an opposite. 0 is not positive or negative, is it?
It's neutral.
It's 0. Okay, and so it doesn't have an opposite. It doesn't have a positive or negative. We never write positive 0 or negative 0. That's just not a thing because 0 is 0, right? We understand the concept of that. But other numbers, 3, does it have an opposite?
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely it has an opposite, doesn't it? Okay, it has an opposite. Does negative 3 have an opposite?
Yeah, it's 3.
Every number that's not 0.
Okay, so a positive number has an opposite, and a negative number has an opposite, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Okay, so what does that mean for us? Well, you guys understand, okay, you understand what negative 4 means. Okay, you can think about that on the number line, right? You can all picture it. Yeah, it's right there. Okay. And if I say I want to add a negative 2, okay, well, I'm at negative 4. What am I going to do? Down 2. Now where am I? Negative 6. Okay. Here's the bit we need to talk about more today. Oh, I didn't write that very well. This subtract negative 5, the opposite of negative 5, okay? So I want to talk to you about how to handle this kind of thing. Every single number, you have to boil it down and say, okay, is this a positive number or is it a negative number? It doesn't matter how many signs are in front of it, okay? You can always boil it down to, okay, that's a plus 5, add 5, positive 5, or it's a subtract 5, negative 5, okay? One or the other. It's got to be one way or the other. So as we remove the parentheses and all the double signs and everything, you guys are fine saying, well, this is negative 4. And I don't want to put plus negative 2. What would be a simpler way to write that? Okay, it's just a negative 2. And then here, we need to think about, well, what's the opposite of negative 5?
5. So plus 5.
Plus 5. Positive 5.
Isn't it just the minus and negative just cancel each other out?
So I think sometimes we get this thing, 2 negatives make a positive, but we know that's not true all the time, is it? Do these 2 negatives make a positive when we put them together? No. Okay. But the opposite of negative 5 is definitely what?
Positive 5.
Positive 5. So once we write it in a simpler way, right, like this, now can we put these 2 together? Negative 6 plus 5. Okay. There's negative 1. So rewriting these so that they're simpler, so that we can make sense of them, that's what we're really going to be working on today. Now, okay, so you guys understand 3. Well, that's just 3. You understand the opposite of 3. Yeah? What about, and we just talked about the opposite of negative 3. What is the opposite of negative 3? It's positive 3. Okay, well, what if we just keep doing this? What's the opposite of negative 3? Okay, now I've got 3 negatives here. So, okay, let's do it this way. I'm at 3. Opposite of that. Opposite of that. Opposite of that. Can I have a whole bunch of negatives out here? What if I have 4 of them? Back to positive. So did you guys ever talk last year about this odd-even rule thing? When I see something like this, I don't draw a number line and think in my mind, okay, I got a negative 3, and then the opposite of that, and then the opposite of that, and then the opposite of that. Okay? Sorry. I just think 1, 2, 3, 4. Is 4 even? Yes? Then it's positive. 1, 2, 3. Odd? Negative. If there's an odd number of negatives, you're going to end up on the negative side of the equal of the number line. There's an even number of them, we're going to end up on the positive side. And that makes life a whole lot easier. So, here's what you're going to be doing today. You're going to be looking at an expression like this, and you're going to have two jobs. Okay? One job, rewrite it so that we don't have all the double signs and triple signs. Every term needs a single sign, right? So what do we have here in front? Positive 4 or negative 4? What's the opposite of negative 4? Okay, so positive 4 or negative 4? Positive 4. Okay, plus negative 2. Okay, how many negatives are there? 1. Is that odd? Negative. Okay? Here, with the 6. 1, 2, 3. 3 negatives. Negative 6. That's an odd number of negatives, right? We don't have to sit on the number line and go, okay, so I got a 6, and then that'd be the opposite of 6, and then the opposite of that would be positive, and now I'm back to negative. We can just count them up. There's 3 of them. Okay, that's an odd number, so I'm going to be back to negative. And then once we do that, 4 and negative 2, put them together. Wait, whoa. 4 and negative 2, positive or negative? Positive what? 2. Okay, positive 2 and negative 6, positive or negative? Negative what? I still hear you guys going 4. Negative 4. What do I want to hear? Negative 4, right? Can't we tell if the answer is positive or negative really quickly?
Yeah.
Right? And don't we need to write that down first? So don't you think we should do it first? Okay, so when you see something like this, you better be thinking, oh, that's negative. How do we know it's negative? Which one's further from 0? Okay, it's further from 0 and it's negative, so the answer is going to be negative, right? And now, you either put them together, 21, or you find the difference, 3. Well, they have different signs, so find the difference, right? Okay? Here, whatever paper you're going to do that today's assignment on, what I'd like you to do is just rewrite this so that we don't have all these multiple signs and things going on. So simplify it, and then see if you can simplify it again down to a single value. All right, who wants to tell me what to write here? Got a volunteer? All red? You look like you're hiding over there. Tell me what to write.
Negative 4 plus 5 plus 5 plus 3 minus 6.
Okay. Everyone okay with this?
Yeah.
Was it difficult?
No.
Now when you look at it, is it a little simpler to deal with it? Okay. Let's put these two together. Positive or negative? Positive what? Positive 1. 1 and 5? Positive 6. 6 and 3? Positive 9. And then 9 and negative 6 is 3, isn't it? What about if we got at this point and we said, well, positive 6 and negative 6?
0.
They add up to 0?
Yeah.
So wouldn't we just be left with that?
Yeah.
Is that okay to do that? Can we add things in an order that's out of order from the way it's written?
Yes.
Because addition is commutative, remember? Commutative. Commutative. That means we can do it in any order we like, whatever's easiest for us. Okay? And then let me make this clear again. So you guys are saying, okay, 6 and negative 6. What's the opposite of 6? What's the opposite of negative 6? Positive 6. What happens when we add a number and its opposite together?
0.
We get 0. Any number and its opposite add up to what? 0. Okay. So opposite, okay. There's another word we use. Additive inverse. These two things mean the same thing. So if I have a number and I say what's its opposite, okay. If I have a number and I say what is its additive inverse, you understand? I'm asking the same thing. Does it make sense that we call it the additive inverse? What happens when you add them together? What do you get?
0.
Do they like inverse each other or cancel each other out? We just get 0. Okay. So what's another name for the opposite of a number? You want to write that down at the top of your paper so that you remember it when you get asked that. I wonder if that's going to be a question on the next test.
Probably.
You'll either get that one or you'll get this one. What's another name for the additive inverse? There you go. One of those two will be on your test. Guaranteed. Okay, so like I said before, everything, no matter how many signs there are in front of the term, it can be boiled down to one single sign. So you have to be able to look at something like that and say, okay, is that the opposite of 4 or positive 4? Which is it?
Opposite of 4. Negative 4.
Well, them are parentheses.
Those are parentheses, yes. Positive 4 or negative 4? Oh, negative 4. How many negatives are there? Is that odd? One negative. Odd. Okay? Plus it's just one, right? How about now? Positive 4. How about now? Negative 4. So I hope you understand what's going on here. They might give you another one. What do you think?
8.
Positive 8. Make sense? Are you all starting to look at how many negatives there are? Does it matter how many positives there are?
No.
So if I had this, what's that going to be? What is it? Negative 3. Well, what happens if we put another positive out here? Does it matter? Does it matter how many positives there are? What matters? How many negatives there are. Okay, when you look at that, how many negatives are there? 1. Okay, that's a negative result. Okay, so if I have, what if I have this? It's a lot of negatives in parentheses. I'm not even sure here. 1, 2, 3, one more. Okay. So what does this boil down to? Positive 7 or negative 7?
Negative 7.
Okay, negative 7. What if I change one of those?
Positive.
Does it change?
Yes.
Yeah. What if I change another one?
Negative.
Okay, now I'm back to negative. What if I change another one?
Positive.
Now I'm back to it. So the number of negatives makes a difference, doesn't it? What about the number of positives? Does that make a difference? No, that doesn't make a difference. Okay, I never look at how many positives there are. I never write 2 signs, and I don't ever put a positive sign just because it's there. So this is what I don't want to see. Okay? I think a lot of times you guys will say, oh, that's -5 plus -3. Why don't we just write -5 subtract 3? Doesn't it mean the same thing?
Yes.
Still means -5 plus -3, doesn't it? So just because there's a plus symbol up here, does that mean you automatically write it down here? No, you need to look at that term and think about, is that a +3 or a -3? And you need to get it down to that single thing so that you can put it together. Got it? I think you have it. Okay, so set 7. I'm going to give you half an hour. It should be done. Let's go.
35, page 35.